I have a Claude Code running on my computer 24/7. It has access to my goals, my tasks, my notes in Obsidian. Let me show you what it sent to me this morning. That's a morning brief arrived on my Telegram, and here how it looks like. It has patterns, how I spent my time in the last 7 days, according by the areas of life, my projects. It has my sleep patterns, my energy patterns, as well as habits, exercise, and meditation. And let me show you how it works. Here I have a chat in my Telegram where I have a different personal assistant. This one which sends to me reports every morning and every night. That's the file which you can open. We've downloaded it. And here is how it looks like. It shows me my tasks for today, the quote, my today focus, active goals, and the daily trends which I've told to you. Also the signal, it's a kind of dashboard for my last YouTube video. And this is fully customizable. You can make it however you want. There is no limits to that. Now, a high-level overview on how this is working. We have our computer, or in the future, I plan to do Mac Mini such that it can work anytime. Now, on our computer, we have a folder where we store our notes. And we set up automation to trigger a Claude Code at 7 a.m. to execute a skill workflow called daily session. And the Claude Code executes this, captures all of the data, and sends this to us in Telegram. Now, this is how it looks like. That's a cron job. That's sort of script which we just run at specific time. Nothing scary about that. Really just a simple line of code. And then what Claude does, it collects my calendar events, my goals from my Obsidian bases. It has full connection to my Obsidian. It pulls sessions on how I work. I use a Pomodoro app, and each time I work for 25 minutes, it creates an event on my calendar, which I can track by project. And then this data gets analyzed, and this way I can understand where my time goes. Next, it does analysis of my sleep and energy patterns based on my previous day, evening check-in. It pulls my YouTube stats, the latest one, as well as it does email summary. And this is enabled by Claude Code skills. Next, based on all of this data, Claude generates this 3-page PDF with schedule, trends, and signals and sends to me in Telegram. And now I receive this nice daily brief with all information which I need to see. And similar workflow on evening for evening check-in, where we exactly do same. We analyze our notes, what we did today, and then Claude generates this 2-page PDF for us and asks us for the reflection. One important piece is the way how we can make Claude interact with our calendar, with our email and task management. Now the key feature. Here, example of the skills which I have. So you can think of the skills as a modular capabilities, right? And you can add them, and based on the description for the skills, we can execute some particular ones. Let me show you an example. Here's an example of skill which connects Claude Code to my Kanban board in Obsidian using TaskNotes plugin. And here is a Kanban board which Claude can understand how to get the data from it, from our upcoming tasks, for the tasks which are in backlog, and so on. And if we look at the metadata of the skill, it's very simple. It's the name of the skill as well as its description. Now, when the user wants to create tasks, list tasks, the Claude understands that it's going to use this skill. And then it's going to load this file with the skill and the right context to interact with our Obsidian Kanban board. You can see here's examples. And of course, I did not code it. Claude helped me to come up with that. Now, and you can have as many as you want. It's really flexible. I have those skills for my YouTube stats. I can get some summary and transcript of different videos. I can generate thumbnails for my YouTube videos. I have this daily brief skill. By the way, here is how it looks like. And this is a skill for the daily brief, where we have two workflows. And depending on what I say, daily brief, morning brief, or evening check-in, Claude understands that we're going to do either morning brief or evening brief. Now, here is what Claude does. It goes into the workflows folder and executes this morning brief. And here is a folder. For example, for the morning brief, we tell exactly what needs to be done. We need to get our events for today. We need to get all of our sessions since the last 7 days. We need to get our goals, reminders, YouTube stats, and so on. And then gather all of this data, analyze it, and compile it into PDF. And then finally ask those questions and then save them into our morning. And this is exactly what Claude did here. It generated this brief and then asked us the questions. That's very cool. Very, very cool and powerful. Yeah, and let me show you that Claude can access our Obsidian Vault. Here is example. I have my goals in Obsidian Vault. I have an Obsidian base for goals tracking. And here are they, nicely seen. And those goals I review every morning. I have other reviews which I review every week. Now, I want to prove that Claude can read those and can have access to it. And Claude is smart, so it runs this command using Obsidian skill, which I created in my another video. And it gets the information from the goals base. And for the view, every morning. Here is the view, which is every morning, right? And then it outputs this result. So we have this high priority goal. We have like other goals like IELTS practice, content ideas for 2 videos, and going to bed. And those are exactly the same goals as here. That's very powerful. And this is all enabled by teaching Claude how to talk to our Obsidian Vault. And there is no magic. Everything is just simple commands. Now, let me show you what Claude actually sees. Right here is the terminal, and we have this command which Claude executed. Now, let's actually see what it is. Now, let's zoom in. And that is the output of this command. This is actually, we have area, like our goals, right? File names, and then we have properties. We have area, we have status, priority, metric. And this, everything is exactly what is in our Obsidian base. Now you can talk, you can be like anywhere in the world and you can still talk to your Obsidian. You can ask about tasks, goals, literally everything. And this is so amazing. That's so much unlock here and so much potential. Another demo which I want to show is how you can add tasks to your Obsidian base using TaskNotes skill. Claude, can we create a task for today to edit a video which I'm recording regarding the running Claude Code 24/7 through Telegram? Okay, now let's see if something would appear here. Yeah, and open it after. Yeah, let's wait. All right, and here you go. Here Claude created a task for us. Great. And let's see it. I think here's a command for it. And then now it created a task. Here's the exact command we should run. And it opened it for us. That's amazing. That's really great. Now those commands, it's how Claude thinks, and you can turn them off by using the command to turn off verbose output or on or off. You can actually also switch the thinking level for Claude and use different models of your preference, right? You can also reset your session if your context window is filled out. And here's a nice touch that it can also open the task in Obsidian. This is what this command does. And that's how we see it. This is super, super powerful. It's a huge unlock. Hey, Claude, can you add new task into our calendar, in our demo calendar, at 7 p.m. to edit video for running Claude Code 24/7 from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. And also remind me at 9 p.m. to do this Amazon order. Yeah, I've just submitted a request to Claude. Here's a demo of how it can actually interact with your calendar, with your reminders, right? Also, it can do stuff outside of Obsidian. It can run any arbitrary code, any arbitrary automation. And here, what it does, it reads the calendar skill, right? Because we asked specifically to add stuff to our calendar, it pulls like available calendars, right? And then it created the events. I see. Not December 22nd. Now let's travel back. Yes, here is actually December 28th as edit video and other reminder for us. How amazing it is. I don't know. That's crazy. I'm just recording it and I'm like, what's going on? I'm like literally blown away. Okay, here example of the skills which we had. Here's the Obsidian basis skill. Now here what I've shown example of interaction with our Obsidian basis. We can get our goals. We can schedule tasks. And we also seen example of calendar skill and TaskNotes skill. So those are available here on my GitHub. That's for the Obsidian base. So you can just go there and explore it. Here is also workflow for my morning routine. You can check it out. And here is a skill for the TaskNotes plugin. That's from my latest video. So you can install it as well. Now, if you need more guidance, I'm also running a workshop on building your personal system with Claude Code. That's very powerful. If you're interested, come on in. It's for 2 days workshop in early January. There you go. Now, and moving on, I want to show you also that it can go through your email, right? That's also cool. I have a skill for that. Hey, Claude, can you read my emails? When you output results, don't expose any private data, please. I'm recording a video. Okay. I don't know what's going to happen here, but that's interesting to see how it's going to handle the request. That's very interesting. And there you go. Here is interaction with our email inbox. It can also read your emails and can also send your emails. Isn't that great? And I think it brings this like very powerful concept that you're kind of orchestrating a different data and you are orchestrator of information, right? So you have calendars, tasks, notes, emails, videos, all of that. And you can design different workflows, different flows of information on how you want it to be. And that's very powerful. I think that's very, very powerful because the system is so flexible. And once you like the interaction which you had with Claude, you can also make it into a skill, right? You can capture this and then it becomes reusable. And then next time when you start a new session with a Claude, it's going to remember it, right? Now, if you're technical, here is how it looks like when you start a new session with Claude. You have a list of available skills, right? And you have a name of the skill and description of the skill. And then you have a location of that skill. And then it's all in the memory of Claude. And when you say something, Claude can compare it against the descriptions and execute that specific skill. It's going to read that file and then it's going to follow the instructions. It's a very, very powerful concept of progressive disclosure where we don't dump all the context into the model. Now it becomes very context efficient and scalable approach where we can just compose this like big instructions into just this small description, right? It just takes 3 lines. And this is a very small amount of token in comparison to the whole context window of the model. Now that's cool. And I think another use case I want to show is how you can just brainstorm your ideas on the go. I think that's very practical. So you just had some idea, right? And then, oh, you need to record it. It's very valuable, right? You're in the moment, you can develop it. And then you can open your Telegram or WhatsApp and talk to Claude to record it. You can record a voice message or use keyboard on your phone, which has voice to text. Let's try something. Hey, Claude, I want to just record idea about, I don't know, next video about how I can create those beautiful diagrams, beautiful Excel draw slides and share that with people. That would be a very cool video idea. Now, and there you go. So here, Claude created the file for us and opened in Obsidian. Of course, it has no guidance on how to create this file, but you can just tell it, okay, capture only exactly as I told, right? Because sometimes, like, I don't need all of that, right? This one I don't need. I just want to capture the raw idea in my voice. But that's very tunable. There is no problem with that. And this way you can talk to your phone, just record ideas, and then to your computer, and then review those, right? So you can just be on the go, have access to your Obsidian, to your notes, to your email, calendar, whatever it is, and be creative at any time. And I want to give a big shout out to Peter. Peter created an open source AI assistant. Here is a link. So if you want to set it up, you can follow those instructions. It's also available on WhatsApp, on Discord, and I'm using Telegram. And also another big shout out to Daniel Missler, who inspired me and some parts of the workflows I adopted to myself. This idea of workflow routing is very powerful. I borrowed some of the ideas from him. And it's really great where the field is moving and explore those tools together. Now, and I think I want to explain why this matters. I believe that right now, most of the people are working, that you use ChatGPT and then, okay, so you just tell, okay, just send some request and ChatGPT doesn't have any context about yourself, right? OpenAI tried to do this memory, but it works anything but memory. It's very confusing and you don't have any control about system prompt and so on, right? And each conversation, you start from zero, you explain everything, but the most important part, you've been doing this interaction with the ChatGPT and then you finish your task and the context is lost forever, right? Unlikely you're going to go back to this chat and make use of it once again. But now, right now, what Claude Code enables you to do is to work with your context and build this persistent memory by combining the concept of Obsidian and like just using your file system, storing the files on your computer and telling the AI and telling Claude Code on how it can handle those, right? And now it knows about your goals, it knows about your schedule, your reminders, and so on. And the context compounds over time. Now you solve the issue. I don't know, for example, like I was writing a blog post and then I need to deploy this blog post and I do this process for the first time, but then I can just tell, okay, let's create a skill for a blog post and create a workflow out of this. And then I can reuse it the next time when I'll be creating a new post. So I'm never going to be doing the work twice anymore. So because now it's documented and it's in the memory. And that's what's your superpower, right? Your context and how do you handle it. And also I think it's important point that yes, so the tools change like every month. Like I think in the last couple months, like there have been so much different models, Gemini, Sonnet, ChatGPT, whatever, they all try to compete with each other, who is better. But in reality, this doesn't matter, right? Maybe in 3 months, there's going to be a new model, right? But what is always here is your files on your computer, right? Your workflows, like all this hard work which you put into doing the actual work and then building on top of that, building your skills on making your context reusable and compounding over time. So that's where I believe the future heading. And maybe those frontier labs, such as OpenAI, going to arrive there in a couple of years, but to build this persistent memory, but that's just too long. And they've been trying to do this for a good 3 years right now, and haven't seen any good evidence that they're going to succeed. So there you have it, a personal AI assistant that actually knows you, right? It has a memory. It's not just a chatbot that forget about you. It's an assistant that shows up every day. It sends you a report every morning. It follows up with a evening check-in, right? Sends you a message to your messengers that you don't forget. It knows your goals, your schedule, and it's fully programmable. You can do any kind of workflow you want. Now, if you want to try it yourself, I have a free starter kit for you to set up code with Obsidian. Link in the description, and it'll get you up and running with the basics. And join the Discord. That's where we have a community of people where we share workflows and help each other out. And I want you to go to the comments and share, what would you automate first? Is it task management, morning routine, or something completely different? This way we can figure out what works best. So I'll see you in the comments. Now it's your turn. Go build something great, and I'll see you in the next one.